Welcome back, guys. Merrick DiCarolis here, back with you guys with The Den, my co-host.
Caden Martz.
All right, guys, we're just going to dive right into it. Oviedo versus Sickles, the big news. The Lions get their first win of the season in Week 2, 58-0. Absolute dominant fashion against really an undermatched Sickles opponent, honestly. 2-hour bus ride to win 58-0.
Embarrassing.
It's very interesting. The Lions, their defense was absolutely dominant, really bouncing back from the disappointing game against Bishop Moore, giving up 0 points. Obviously, first shutout of the season, hopefully of many. Top performer on the defense, Messiah Montgomery, 2 sacks against the Sickles Griffins. Biggest news from that game, honestly, starting quarterback. Jerome Curry started Week 1. Week 2, Brock Joyce, the starting quarterback. What do you think about that, Caden?
Honestly, I think Brock Joyce, he's the guy. He
Really?
is that guy. You check his stats, like 150 yards in total, 3 touchdowns. He can run. I think he can pass, and he's perfect for this offense that Coach O, it's a little wild, and a little wildcat. Oh, yeah. And I think Brock Joyce is perfect for this offense.
I think with Brock Joyce at quarterback, he is the most athletic quarterback out there. He offers a lot in the run game, but I think the offense comes really one-dimensional with him out there. I don't think we have much deep threats like against Bishop Moore. I think with Brock Joyce at quarterback, he is the most athletic quarterback out there. He offers a lot in the run game, but I think the offense comes really one-dimensional with him out there. I don't think we have much deep threats like against Bishop Moore. Jerome Curry was averaging 36 yards per completion. All right, he knows how to sling it. I just think he offers a lot more in the passing game. He can run too. It's underrated part of his game. He's got legs. He's a fast kid. I think Jerome really should be the starting quarterback. Maybe we have Brock Joyce come in on certain plays, like he could be our goal line quarterback on the Wildcat, 1-2 yard line, have him running up the gut. But I feel like Jerome he adds a lot more to the offense than Brock does. Chance, so he did his best in the passing game against Bishop Moore, and if Brock Joyce is at quarterback, I don't think he has a good enough chance to be a threat in the receiving game. I think Brock Joyce can also be utilized as a running back, as a receiver. He's a very dynamic athlete. Jerome Curry, really just a quarterback. I feel like if Brock Joyce is playing quarterback, that's just another skill position player you're taking off the field.
It's true. I think we'll see against Brantley. I think they should start out with Joyce. He had the result. He did get the win
Against an undermanned opponent.
Oh, that is true. I don't know. We'll see against Brantley. For this game against Brantley, what are you thinking?
Last season we played Brantley 60-47. Absolutely crazy fireworks, a massive game. Brantley, though, only went on to finish, I think, 2-8 on the season. So, yeah, they lost their starting quarterback, transferred to Lake Mary to play receiver. Yeah, I think the Lions are going to absolutely destroy Lake Brantley, honestly. Last week, Lake Brantley got a win against East River. Close game. East River not known for their football talent, really. I think it was 28-24. Yeah, I think the Lions, they're going to dismantle Brantley at home. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a shutout, honestly. If the defense can play like they did against Sickles, I think it's a shutout. My prediction, I'm 40-0.
All right, we'll move on from our Oviedo game, and we'll go back to our rankings. This is our post-Week 2 rankings. Number 1, I think it's really obvious. It's got to be Cocoa. They killed the reigning state title winners, Mainland, 51-0. They had their guy Boggs. He caught 11 passes for 222 yards, and the QB's 4 touchdowns all went to him. I think they can't move. They're probably maybe the best team in Florida, you could say.
We're gonna see this week. IMG.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna see if Cocoa beats IMG. Undisputed best team in Florida, in my opinion. Not a question.
Oh yeah.
The connection that Hart has with Boggs, Brady Hart, the starting quarterback, obviously committed to Michigan. It's one of the best connections, not only in the state but in the country, really. Boggs, a dynamic route runner. He's committed to UCF. Probably one of the best athletes in all of Florida. I just think he's a 4-star recruit, obviously. I think no one's going to be able to stop them.
Oh, yeah, but that game next week, huge game.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest games, obviously the biggest game in the state, but that's probably the biggest game in the country next week. It's really an incredible matchup, and it's a blessing that Florida gets to host that kind of game.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, we've got Lake Mary. The Lake Mary Rams not moving. Got a tough-fought win against a quality opponent in Osceola. Osceola, obviously, has one of the best backfields in Central Florida. Tavion Swint committed to UCF. Best running back in maybe all of Florida, honestly. Lake Mary, obviously, Osceola was number 10 in our last week's rankings. Can't complain about getting a top 10 win against Central Florida opponent, but I got to see more from Noah Grubbs, starting quarterback. Really.
So true. That dude, 18 for 32. A touchdown and an interception. That's not a great ratio. That's not what you want. I mean, coming into the season, he was probably ranked best quarterback, maybe in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. Grubbs, he has high expectations. He's got all the traits, really. It's just about putting it together, honestly. I expected this, honestly, going into the season. He graduated his 3 starting receivers, all of them playing football elsewhere. I think he'll end up putting it together, but really, Lake Merrick can only go as far as he's willing to take them.
So true. Oh, yeah. And he was ranked above Brady Hart, who we just talked about, but I think the difference is becoming pretty obvious. And Brady Hart, he's kind of creating some separation there for the best quarterback.
Absolutely. Brady Hart, in a better situation, in one of the best situations you could possibly be in, throwing to a 4-star senior receiver who won Mr. Florida last year. But just watching the two play, Hart looks so confident when he plays, really. Grubbs, he looks a little tentative. I just think it's pretty obvious right now that Noah Grubbs is below Brady Hart.
Number 3, a big riser here. We got the First Academy. They beat Edgewater 28-24. A huge game, probably the biggest game of last week.
Oh yeah, biggest game of the week in my opinion, honestly. TFA, really a surprise to a lot of people. A lot of people don't know their last coach got fired due to some transfer controversy. They brought in Leesburg's head coach. He brought a lot of players with him, a lot of talent with him. TFA, yeah, one of the more talented stacked rosters in the nation, really. They have multiple 4-star recruits, multiple Division I guys. It's just, I don't think anyone expected them to beat Edgewater, honestly. They broke Edgewater's 28-game regular season win streak. Really unexpected.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely insane. It's 3 straight years being undefeated. But, yeah, I think TFA, state title favorites in the 1A division, which is a very, very competitive division. But after a win like that, that's one of the most impressive wins on the entire season. Next at number 5, we got O'Galley. They proved themselves again, beating top 100 Rockledge 40-0. Really one of the more dominating wins. A surprise, honestly. A lot of people thought that game would be more competitive, including myself. But O'Galley really just proving themselves week to week. Next week, they face off against Heritage, who I think is going to be really motivated. Heritage's got a talented squad. Oviedo actually played Heritage last season. We were the only loss in the regular season. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. But, yeah, I think Heritage is going to be really motivated coming off a loss against Seminole, where I think they really thought they could have had that game. But, yeah, I think O'Galley, that'll be a good game, too.
Yeah.
O'Galley is 3-0 against 3 top 75 opponents. They'll continue to rise up these rankings, really.
Yeah, and you've been high on them this year. I mean, they beat Heritage next week.
Absolutely. They've got a lot of talent. They got a quarterback, only a sophomore, multiple Power 4 offers. They got a safety, a 4-star player with SEC offers. I just really think O'Galley is a force to be reckoned with.
Next at number 6, we got Seminole, one of the most talented rosters in Central Florida, but they haven't put it together quite yet. They beat Heritage 34-14, which is a good win. That's a solid win, but we need to see more from their QB, Michael Caden, only 50 yards. You can't be doing that.
Absolutely. So with someone as talented as Michael Clayton, ranked as highly as he is, you expect more out of him, honestly. If Seminole wants to meet their expectations, every year Seminole wants to win a state title, obviously. That's their goal every single season. They're going to need more from the quarterback position. Last season, they were in and out of quarterbacks. David Parks played a lot of quarterback for him last year. The year before that, it was Luke Rucker, a transfer from Oviedo. But they really haven't found a solid quarterback since Timmy McLean left a few years ago, who won the state title with them, obviously. I just think Seminole, they've got 4-stars littered all over the team. They got Ethan Pritchard, 4-star committed to FSU. Max Buchanan, starting left tackle, best O-lineman in Central Florida. They need to get together, they need to work together, they need to put it together. All right, next up, number 7, we got University. Just a win against a poor North Miami squad, really. They're obviously better than them. The offense continues to dominate, scoring 31 points in their first game against Mainland and 49 in this one against North Miami. But the defense looks a little suspect, really.
Oh, yeah.
Giving up 20-plus points in both their games so far. That's another matchup with Oviedo. Oviedo plays University late in the season. I think that'll be an interesting one, really.
Interesting game.
Absolutely, yeah. Oviedo's offense has obviously been the strong suit of their team so far, and University's defense has been pretty weak, so I think the Lions could put up a lot of points on them.
Oh, yeah.
University was led by running back Anthony Mays, 193 yards on 9 carries, also notched in a touchdown. Yeah, we knew their offense was going to be dominant. It's just about their defense at this point.
Next at number 8, we got Bishop Moore. They traveled all the way to Staten Island for their Week 2 matchup, and they came out on top 42-21. Obviously an interesting thing to do with Week 2.
Absolutely. That's going up to Staten Island Week 2 is a crazy decision, but, I respect. They want to play the best teams in the nation, and I respect that. Obviously, Bishop Moore got the win against Oviedo Week 1, a heartbreaking loss for the Lions. Bishop Moore's offense is obviously the strong suit of their team, 40-plus points in their first 2 games. I think it's going to be whoever can test their defense, honestly. The defense looks weak, 21 points this week, 42 last week. Look for them to prove it against St. Thomas Aquinas, obviously one of the most historically great teams in all of Florida in football. They play them Week 5. That'll be a big matchup. I got definitely have St. Thomas Aquinas coming out on top of that, but I think Bishop Moore could surprise a few people.
Yeah, and if a Bishop Moore win there, that's huge for them in these rankings.
Bishop Moore skyrocket. They become the state title favorites in their division. So, yeah, now it's skyrocket them up their rankings. St. Thomas Aquinas, every year, one of the best teams in Florida.
Number 9, Edgewater. Obviously, they did suffer that loss to TFA, but we didn't want to drop them too much. It was a close game.
You can't. How can you drop a team that won 28 games straight?
Oh, yeah.
One loss, one falter. They had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, gave up 14 points unanswered to TFA. I think Edgewater's going to bounce back. I think they're going to have a great season, really, but you get matched up against a team like TFA with that much talent. It's hard. And then coming in at number 10, we have Apopka. Apopka, obviously, for a long time, they're the best team in all of Central Florida. They've fallen down a bit. They're 2-0 on the season. Obviously, they have one of the best defenses in the state. They've given up no points so far on the season, which is absolutely ridiculous. But they've only been able to score 16 points in 2 games so far. Offense is extremely suspect. I think once they face a good defense, they might not be able to score. And once they face an explosive offense, I just think all you have to do is put up 20 points on this team and you're going to beat them.
Yeah, it's hard to trust that because, explosive plays happen,
Yeah. They say defense wins championships, but when your offense scores 16 points in 2 weeks, it's hard to predict you to win a state championship.
All right, that'll wrap us up this week. We'll probably be back here next week.
Oh, yeah, we'll be back next week talking about the biggest games of the week. Oviedo, obviously, we'll talk about the Oviedo Lake Brantley game as well. Really interested to see who plays quarterback.
Oh, yeah, Brock Joyce.
Yeah, I think Jerome Curry's got it. I think Jerome Curry's got the arm talent. He's got he knows how to read a defense. He's got a great arm.
But, yeah, please DM us at Oviedo Now on Instagram with any questions or opinions you'd like us to react to, and we'll get to them as soon as possible.
Yeah,
we're really excited.
We'd love to start up like a little mailbag where you guys send in questions and we'll answer them, but that's all up to you guys. So please, Oviedo Now on Instagram, just DM them your questions and we'll try and get them in here. Have a good one, guys.
See you.